York Mets baseball is on the air. Today it's the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals from Tradition Field in Port St. Lucie, Florida. And it's presented on SNY by Citi. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. By Ford for great deals on Ford cars, trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. Visit tristateford.com. And by Citi, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. Another glorious day down here in Port St. Lucie. Baseball, what's better than that in the spring? Lucas Judah going to be back in the lineup for the Amazons today. David Wright still not into game action. Big smile on his face, hoping to be in games next week. And Matt Harvey was on the mound on Tuesday. Jake DeGrom yesterday. And today we're going to get to see Noah Syndergaard for the first time this spring. Hi, everybody. Gary Apple alongside Ron Darling. Gary going off during the college basketball postseason as he's fired up for college hoop. And so we're going to get a chance, as I said, to see Noah Syndergaard today. Last time we saw Noah, he was knocking Alcides Escobar on his derriere in Game 3 of the World Series.
You know what's a great reward for this job is occasionally you can watch a young pitcher grow up before your eyes. And last year in spring training, if you had asked me about Noah Syndergaard, I said he would need a full year of seasoning in AAA before he was ready for the big leagues. He ends up pitching in the postseason, and wonderfully. 166 strikeouts at 24 starts last year. That's the third most in Mets history behind Dwight Gooden and Matt Harvey.
Got a chance to visit with Noah yesterday. He's champing at the bit to get out on the mound for the first time this spring. Also going to see Michael Conforto in the lineup for the Mets today. He's having a pretty good spring so far, 4 for a dozen at the plate. Big question about Michael is, can he hit lefties on a consistent basis? He's going to see one today in Jaime Garcia.
You know, Michael Conforto is going to be a star. He's going to be an everyday player for this team. He's got a chance today to start to move forward to that. Facing against Garcia, this doesn't come out of nowhere. Terry Collins, the manager, knew about Garcia pitching 2 or 3 days ago. So he picked a spot to put Conforto in there to see how he does against the lefty.
Mets coming off a tie yesterday against the New York Yankees, looking to get back on track with a victory here today. Palm trees and spring training baseball. First pitch is on the way.
I do everything on the internet, but it's kind of slow.
York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Citi, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. And by Ram Truck Month. Going on now. Get to Citi Field on Sunday, April 10th to watch the Mets battle the Phillies at 1:10 p.m. All fans in attendance will receive a Mets rally towel. Plus, it's the first family Sunday of 2016 where all kids 12 and under can run the bases post-game in the Mr. Met Dash. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays. Pitchers today for the Mets, presented by Cadillac. Noah Syndergaard going to be on the mound. Robert Gazelman going to get another look today. Jeurys Familia and Hansel Robles, two key members back into that Mets bullpen, also going to be on the field here in Port St. Lucie. It's the Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals. Noah Syndergaard, he's getting ready. We've got first pitch on a beautiful day in South Florida when we come back.
Before the Cadillac ATS.
What a season it was for Noah Syndergaard, the man known as Thor, taking the mound out here at Tradition Field. His first start of the spring, the long golden locks from under the back of his hat. As we get a look at the lineup it's going to be facing today, Cardinals lineup is presented by Toyota. Colton Wong going to be in the leadoff spot. Stephen Piscotty bats behind him. Brandon Moss, Matt Adams, Brian Pena going to be behind the dish. He's the backup catcher. Tommy Pham, Greg Garcia, Edmus Diaz, and he's going to be somebody interesting to watch, Ronnie, because they hope that with Johnny Peralta on the shelf now a couple of months, maybe 3 months, that Diaz might be the answer in the interim.
Yeah, he had 4 hits 2 days ago. The great thing about this Mets pitching staff is a different reason to love all the pitchers. You got a local guy who's made good in Matz. You got Harvey and the tank type of mentality, the simpleness of Jacob deGrom, and the Texas toughness of Noah Syndergaard. Defensively behind Syndergaard today for the second day in a row. The Lexus defense. Cespedes is in center field. Conforto gets a start in left. Granderson 2 days in a row also. Wilmer Flores getting some time at third base. He'll get time at third base, second, and first, along with shortstop Cabrera, Walker, Duda, and Kevin Plawecki, giving Travis d'Arnaud a break.
Noah Syndergaard going to face Colton Wong to get it started. Young man from Hilo, Hawaii. First pitch in there for a called strike one. David Rackley is the home plate umpire calling balls and strikes. Jerry Meals, Mike Estabrook, Ramon DeJesus around the infield.
Well, it's interesting to see Wong in that leadoff position. He really has wanted to hit first, as you see the umpires. He's wanted to hit first. Now, Matt Carpenter loves to hit first, but they want to push him down the lineup to drive in more runs.
Wong sends one into center field. Cespedes gliding over and runs up the wall. First out of the game.
By the way, that ball was hit right on the nose, a bullet. And nice job by Cespedes. The wind is blowing out to the left center field here, so the ball really carried, but easy play for Cespedes.
I think it's interesting. Cespedes just talked about the fact that he'd rather be in left field. There's no question about that. But, you know, he can go get it in center. And I think if he's all in, if he's committed to it, we might see a pretty good year out of Cespedes defensively in center field.
Well, what I think was interesting is that, and I don't know if it was the bargaining for Cespedes, but a lot of teams over the winter, when he was out there as a free agent, really talked his defense down, didn't they? And yes. I know that in the World Series, I feel like he wasn't even ready for the first pitch that ended up being an inside the park home run. But when you have his attention, he can play center field easily.
Stephen Piscotty bounces one to short. Asdrubal Cabrera across to Lucas Duda for the second out of the first.
Well, we've only seen him a little, but Cabrera makes a nice play. Whenever he comes in on the ball, he's able to throw off that off foot.
Brandon Moss steps in for the Cardinals, 32-year-old, going to play a little bit of first base, going to play some outfield as well. Well-traveled, Red Sox, Pirates, Phillies, A's, Indians, and now the Cardinals.
And Brandon Moss becomes almost an afterthought. Remember when the Oakland Athletics had that lead against the Kansas City Royals 2 years ago in the wild card game? It was Brandon Moss who had 2 home runs and 5 RBIs in that game before Kansas City came back. So you don't even remember his great effort.
He had 76 home runs in 3 years out there in Oakland. I mean, he was a pretty potent bat in that A's lineup. Syndergaard ahead 0-2.
I like that pitch right there. Syndergaard 0-2 against a power hitter. He jammed Moss, came inside with a purpose. This kid has just developed so quickly from last year at this time. And for you folks at home, if you never get to meet Noah Syndergaard, I'm a big guy. He makes me look like a shrimp.
Well, you are sizable. He is, I think the nickname, the Thor moniker, it is perfect for him. And he's embraced it. Hit on the ground, right at Neil Walker. 1-2-3 inning for Noah Syndergaard. Good start for the tall right-hander.
Why do we do it?
Met lineup presented by Geico. Curtis Granderson getting his second consecutive start in right field. He's in the leadoff spot. Yoenis Cespedes, second straight game in center field, hitting third. Lucas Duda in the cleanup spot. Michael Conforto getting the start in left field against the lefty. Kevin Plawecki does the catching, and he bats eighth.
Well, Jaime Garcia is one of those pitchers. Now, his production has fallen off a little because of injuries the past few seasons, but he's 20 games over 500 for his career. Last year, 10 wins, his ERA in the mid-twos. Outstanding year in 20 starts.
Dealt with a lot of injury. Tommy John, rotator cuff, thoracic outlet surgeries, had the triumvirate right there. Curtis Granderson leads it off. First Grapefruit League game was yesterday. Went 2 for 3. Scored a run, so a good start for Curtis.
So the team that Curtis used to play for, the Yankees, were here yesterday, played him in a shift, and now against the left-handed Garcia, the Cardinals do not play him. Shifted to right field.
Obviously, different organizations, different managers, different philosophies. So what is Mike Matheny? It's tough to get in his mind, but what's the difference in philosophy?
Well, I think one is the left-handed pitcher, but even more importantly, all these teams get the same data. It's how you interpret it, and different organizations interpret it differently. We saw in spring training last year Curtis hitting the ball to left field off lefties a lot.
Granderson skies it along the first base line. Matt Adams called off. Colton Wong settles under it, makes the grab for the first out.
Well, let's look at the Ram defense of the Cardinals behind Garcia this afternoon. Brandon Moss playing in left field. Tommy Pham, who had a nice year last year in center. Piscotty, the Stanford grad, in right. Garcia, who's a teammate of Colton Wong, is University of Hawaii at third base. Diaz at short. Adams at first base. And Brian Pena behind the plate. You know what's interesting? Just watching Pena to that first hitter, Granderson. His targets are beautiful. He gets really low. You know, how he works the pitcher. You know, if you are on the Cardinal staff, all you have to do is watch Molina, and you'll get a sense of that there's really, it's very important that there's a rapport between the pitcher and catcher, more than some other teams. And remember, Mike Matheny, former catcher himself,
yes.
Gold Glove catcher. So he makes sure these guys defense first.
Strubel Cabrera into left field. That's his second hit of the spring. Came in 1 for 11. Batting from the right side today. And so the Mets have a base runner here in the bottom of the first.
Boy, nice hitting. Jumped all over this pitch. Garcia was ready to go, and Cabrera stepped out of the box. The home plate umpire called time, and then the next delivery, a line drive to left field.
Garcia trying to rise up. Well out of his reach as Yoenis Cespedes steps in. Had a very good day yesterday. 2 for 3, an RBI. As I mentioned, second consecutive day he's playing center field after spending the opening few games of the Grapefruit League just as a designated hitter.
You know, it's interesting. Different players get different attention. While Cespedes was taking batting practice today, the entire Cardinals team was on the top step of the dugout watching him take BP today. And he was hitting some prodigious home runs with the wind blowing out.
Stung out to center field. Back goes Pham, who tracks it down. Cabrera takes off for second and tags up. Good piece of base running.
Good call, Gary, to be on top of that. Cabrera is known as a very heady, a very smart player, and does a nice job with Pham retreating on this baseball. Gets the read. Now that ball changeup hit on the nose by Cespedes. Pham, you see retreating. As he's retreating, Cabrera reads that, and he kind of wasn't paying attention. That's something you usually don't see from a Cardinals player. Nice job by Cabrera.
So Mets a runner in scoring position with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Lucas Duda, 3 for 10 this spring. Yeah, you mentioned the guys being on the top step of the Cardinals dugout watching Cespedes. When you have a marquee slugger, it really changes in many ways the perception of your team, and then Lucas Duda, who can hit some pretty big home runs himself, behind him. So it really changes the whole complexion of your team.
Well, Lucas is going to have to do a better job against lefties if he wants to be out there every single day. Because if he doesn't, then maybe Flores gets some at-bats or others. You know what's interesting during spring training, Gary, is that a guy like Duda, Conforto, if they're facing right-handed pitching, Terry Collins is paying attention, but not as much attention as he's paying today. They're both going up against left-handed pitching. I would say Duda under less scrutiny than Conforto. I think he's going to really look at Conforto's first 2 at-bats, maybe against Garcia.
3-0 pitch from Garcia, and it's up high, and Lucas Duda draws a walk. So the manager's watching, but what about I think anxiety might be too strong a word.
Terry Collins is going out there. When Cabrera tagged up, when he got to second base, he was limping a little, and you can see right now he's limping, and that's why Terry Collins is going out there.
Yep.
And with his reaction now getting down, you can understand that he is hurting and will be taken out of the game. Now watch, he goes back, and once he tags up, when he gets to second base, you can feel or see him kind of react. See how he kind of slowed down? And there was a little reaction even after that, where it's almost like he tweaked maybe his hamstring or his knee. Remember, he had some leg issues last year.
So that's certainly not good news, but Cabrera leaves. Looked like about 10, 15 feet from the bag.
Yeah.
Might have pulled up a little bit.
So you're very happy Ruben Tejada is going to go in the run for him and gets a great hand from the crowd here. So you're really happy that he tagged up with a smart play, but it might have cost him some playing time.
Neil Walker now with runners at first and second. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. 30-year-old, played 151 games season ago. He's proven to be pretty durable, and he's in his walk year, so he wants to be in there on a regular basis.
Well, it was very interesting because he's a kid. His dad played for the Pirates. He's from Pittsburgh. Really felt as though at some point he'd be a Pirate for his entire career, but the business part of it got him.
Count evens at 1-1. You know, it's not often a guy is born in a city, drafted by a team in that city, and then plays his whole career.
That's right.
Which he's done in Pittsburgh until moving over here. We had a chance to get him on our Mets Hot Stove shows, and he said it's a little bit of an adjustment.
In the background, if you're at home, you can really hear that voice that stands out above everyone else's because he's right near the mic is Terry Collins, who's always chirping to his players in a great way, positive way.
Another very big crowd here at Tradition Field today. A lot of red in the crowd. Cardinal fans travel. They always travel well. 1-2 on Walker. And Jaime Garcia gets Neil Walker to end the bottom of the first. No score. We go to the second. The second, Noah Syndergaard facing off against Matt Adams, man known as Big City because he's big, about 260 pounds.
Big City against Thor. Well, Adams last year, some injuries curtailed his production, only played 60 games. Had that big postseason moment 2 seasons ago. Remember that big home run against Clayton Kershaw.
Hits one hard, but right at Curtis Granderson, who pulls it in.
Well, remember Game 3. Going into the World Series against Kansas City Royals, the Mets knew that Escobar loved to swing at the first pitch. What does Syndergaard counter with? One right at his melon. And that was Mike Moustakas, who had a lot of unkind words for Syndergaard. But you know what was great about that? Now, it's not that great if you're a Kansas City fan, but if you're a Mets fan, he struck him out, but also his words afterwards. Said, listen, if they have any problem with me, I'm 60 feet 6 inches away. Come get me.
I thought that was the best part about it. Right. I mean, here's a young guy. He's 23 years old, 22 last year, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, there were questions when he was coming up in Las Vegas what his makeup was. Was he tough enough? As Brian Pena steps in and fouls it away. So there were questions about his makeup, and not only has he embraced, you know, his place in this rotation, but he has really thrived in New York City, Ronnie, and really just taken the bull by the horns. No pun intended with that nickname, Thor.
Well, think about it. Growing up in Texas, probably never heard of the word chutzpah, but he had plenty of it on that night against the Kansas City Royals. So it's just fun. All of these guys are so good at such a young age. It's just fun to watch. Makes my job easy.
Pena fouls it away. You know, we were looking down by the Mets bullpen here at Tradition Field. A lot of fans like to hang around that bullpen to see these pitchers because they are the marquee attractions. Yes, they've got Cespedes. Yes, they've got Duty. Yes, they've got David Wright. But the Mets are driven by their starting pitching and the variety of personalities, not just talent. Good off-speed pitch, and down goes Pena.
Oh, good breaking ball there from Syndergaard. We saw a lot of iffy breaking balls yesterday because of the arm speed, but good arm speed, good downward break, and completely fools Pena. Think about it this way. You're talking about being near the bullpen. If you're a 10-year-old kid and you love baseball, you want to be down there watching warm up. That might be your only chance to see a ball travel at 100 miles an hour.
Right. Tommy Pham steps in, hitting .214 this spring.
There's Johnny Franco. I saw him last night. Had a conversation. That's Frank Viola. Camera left. Frankie V. He's a piece of work. Love him.
I love the tradition that you get when the guys come back and the organizational camaraderie. I think that's something that's really, you know, being felt right now, especially with the run that this team is on. Everybody's wanted to get involved. Mike Piazza was here in camp.
Right.
I think it's just great for the organization.
Johnny in uniform now. Mookie Wilson is going to be in uniform in a week or so. So it's nice to see some of the legends that wore this uniform still around.
Pham takes a called strike, evens the count at 2-2.
98 miles an hour on March 10th. Are you kidding me?
A fastball average 97 during the 2015 season. Grounded. Duda going to take it himself. So another 1-2-3 inning for Noah Syndergaard as we hit to the bottom of the second. Gary Apple back alongside Ron Darling. Bottom of the second inning down here at Port St. Lucie, Tradition Field. Michael Conforto steps in for the first time this afternoon.
Well, this is the at-bat we talked about in the open, Gary. Just watching him against Garcia, who's got a good breaking ball. How does he hang in there? You have to remember, Conforto's been an everyday player every place he's been except the major leagues last season. So, in the minor leagues, of course, in college in Oregon.
Conforto takes it up high. Count even at 1-1.
See that big breath there. So he's feeling a little angst like we talked about before.
Well, you mentioned, under the microscope, general manager Terry Collins and Sandy Alderson, but you mentioned the angst. I would imagine that's something you have to learn to, as a young player, control and not let it paralyze you.
You just have to go back to say, I've been able to hit anybody they throw out there my entire life. Why would it be different now?
1-2. Conforto looks at a called third strike. Let's go downstairs. Steve Gelbs. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Gary. Here with TJ Rivera, who is a guy that probably was meant on some level to be in Mets camp. He was born 2 years to the day after they won the championship in 1986. A New York City kid. Played for Mackey Sasser in college at Alabama as well, right down in Alabama. What was that like playing for Mackey Sasser?
Great experience. Great guy, great coach. Learned a lot of things from him. You can always learn from the guys who've been around the league for a while. They always have some interesting things, interesting stories. But a great experience. Learned a lot, and was blessed to be able to go down there and showcase myself a little bit.
TJ, you're a guy that already is a really good story. Undrafted and through 5 seasons in the minors, hitting .318 overall, .306 in AAA last season. What did scouts not see in you that clearly you have?
I don't know. I don't know if it was the mental side of things or, I'm not really sure. Truthfully, I'm not going to go out and, be able to showcase myself like some guys can and in BP or, showing their arm off and things of that nature. I think my game is really just going out and playing the game when it starts, not before, not the BPs and not the things like that, but I can go out there and compete and battle, and maybe that was something they didn't see, but I'm just blessed to have this opportunity either way.
First big league spring training for you. Do you think that given those 5 years of really great hitting, do you feel like you're getting a legitimate look now finally?
Hopefully, yeah. I do feel like that. I try not to think about it as much as, sometimes I do, because that's when you start affecting your play. But I just try to go out there, compete, play my game, and hopefully people are giving me a look, and I'll be grateful if they do. But I'm going to keep playing my game, and, hopefully things come.
What is your game?
Grinding it out. Going out there, having the best at-bats I can. Not worrying about getting hits, worrying about hitting the ball hard and let the numbers come after that. And, just competing and giving my all.
You've played all 4 infield positions in your minor league career. Anyone in particular that you feel overwhelmingly comfortable with?
I've been getting really comfortable at all of them, honestly. Truthfully, the position I haven't played the most is probably first, but I do, and shortstop as well, but I like playing short. I have fun playing there. You feel like you're in control. It's obviously a tougher position, but I truthfully feel comfortable at all of them. Even third now that I've been playing it a good bit. It's a hot corner, but it's exciting, too, to be ready every pitch. It's fun.
TJ, we appreciate the time. Good getting to know you a little bit, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Gary, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. TJ as well.
How can you not appreciate a guy who says, I can't really show my arm off?
Bronx native, another one hit right down to Greg Garcia, and a low and can't be handled over at first base by Matt Adams. It's going to be an error on Garcia. Made a very nice play on Wilmer Flores, the batter before.
Well, what's interesting is that Garcia plays all the infield positions like TJ Rivera, but to me it's almost like he kind of lollygagged that throw over instead of letting it go. You want to follow that throw and step into it and put something on it. And you can see how could I do that? Just made that play 1,000 times and never threw it in the dirt.
22-year-old Dilson Herrera, 3 for 15 on the spring. He's DHing today. Listening to Rivera, I said really, and Steve was pointing out the fact he really wasn't heavily looked at, and you and I were chatting earlier about Stephen Curry out in Golden State, the NBA, and
right.
Nobody recruited him at a high Division I level. And so there are guys, as Herrera sends a foul down the third base line. A lot of guys who are overlooked and then do great things.
Yeah, you're trying to wonder how Del Curry's son got overlooked, but
because of his size, he just wasn't very big.
I think what happens a lot of times, and I'm saying this only because that's where I was raised also, if you're a Northeast baseball player, sometimes you can be overlooked and not given as much respect as a guy who's from Arizona or Florida or Texas.
Did you feel that way?
Well, I think there's more room for growth, because when you're only playing because of the weather 40 or 50 games as opposed to someone in the South playing 100, 120 games, then there's maybe some more room for growth, and I think that's what's happened to TJ.
1-2. Count even now at 2 apiece.
Garcia's repertoire, he's got a pretty straight fastball, good breaking ball, but his changeup really is his best pitch, and it's the one that he uses to get right-handed hitters out.
Well, Herrera's played in 49 games with the Mets past couple of seasons. He has shown that he can hit down in the minor leagues. He has not shown on a consistent basis that he can hit in the big leagues. And is that the next question to be answered?
Yeah, and it's hard because the chances he has gotten, when Murph got injured and got some at-bats, he hasn't shown a lot yet at this level. But, no one is a bigger proponent of Herrera's game than Keith Hernandez. He just loves what he can do, not only with the bat, but also defensively. He thinks he's got some great toughness. I think he could be a star. There he is. The Merry Mex, not here today.
I asked him yesterday, will he be watching today?
No.
That is no chance. Hit on the ground to second. Colton Wong is right there, and he's going to wrap it up here at the bottom of the
Was
second.
he watching yesterday? That's what I want to know.
We go to the third, no score. Long day for the manager. You think it's just the games, but he's out there, Terry Collins, early in the morning overseeing the morning drills.
It's funny. I have a weird fascination with watching these drills in spring training. Now, when I was a player, I didn't have any fascination with the drills. But it's fun to watch them because the players are working on all those little fundamentals that might not serve you until a sixth game of a World Series, where it might come into play. You never know.
Noah Syndergaard's been perfect through the first 2 innings. Facing Garcia, Diaz, and Hazelbaker here in the bottom of the third. Garcia just gets a piece of it. Count even at 1.
Boy, look at that ERA. Minimum 150 innings pitches for the rookie ERA leaders. I mean, it's all the royalty. Kuzma, Matlack, Good, and Seaver.
166 innings, as you mentioned at the outset, for Noah Syndergaard last season. 19 postseason innings, and showed that he's so versatile as we get a look at Jacob deGrom, who threw 3 innings yesterday. But the ability to come out of the bullpen in that deciding game against the Dodgers, taking the ball and doing so effectively, it really, I think it told me a lot about Syndergaard and what he's about.
I remember I did that game, and before the game, I saw Terry Collins, and I said, would you use Syndergaard out of the bullpen? And he looked at me, he said no, and winked. And I didn't know what that meant.
Wow.
But it meant that he ended up using him, which was great.
Pitched that scoreless 7th inning, had a couple of strikeouts.
And I like Terry's reasoning afterwards. He said, listen, I needed a bridge to get the Familia. I needed someone who's going to come in and have no-hit kind of stuff. The only guy I had available who had that was Noah Syndergaard.
Hit on the ground, Tejada ranging in for the first out.
I mean, already we've seen a lot of balls that have been in on the hands of these Cardinals hitters hit very weakly.
Brings up Ledmys Diaz, the 25-year-old from Cuba, as Jerry Blevins up in the Mets bullpen.
Well, it's back-to-back days for Blevins. He pitched yesterday. Diaz is an interesting story. They gave him a 4-year contract to entice him to sign for $8 million, so $2 million a year. Really hadn't shown anything. In fact, lost his roster spot. And they took him off. Anyone could have selected him, any 29 teams. No one did. And then after they put him back on, he took off. His minor league career is taken off. So it took him a while. Just hard to get anything going against this cat tonight. 24 strikes, 6 balls. Mid-season form.
Wade cuts a very imposing figure out there on the mound. The 0-2 up high.
What a gift, huh, to be able to stand out there 0-2 and say, you know what, I don't care where this goes, I'm just going to throw it hard.
I go back to the fact that he's really embraced his whole persona. The fact that he nicknames his gloves after favorite TV shows. I find that to be fascinating.
Yeah. Well, key to that is you better be good if you're
got to back it up,
gloves.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so far, he's backed it up. There's the Thor glove. Count remains even at 2-2. Go back to that trade that the Mets acquired Syndergaard with, and boy, turns out to be, at the moment, one of the great trades in Mets history. Syndergaard and d'Arnaud, and we wait to see what happens with Becerra.
Just overmatched there, Diaz, as he runs back to the bench, college style. Just a great breaking ball. Disappears on him, flailing away.
Second strikeout of the afternoon for Noah Syndergaard. That brings Jeremy Hazelbaker, the designated hitter, to the plate. It's a career minor leaguer, 8 years in the Red Sox organization. Spent some time with the Dodgers and now on to the Cardinals.
That's a great name, huh?
Hazelbaker flares one down the left field line. That's going to fall in. Around first, going to try for 2, and he's in there with a head first slide.
Well, sometimes hitters are going the other way with the pitch, and sometimes they're just fooled. And that ball kind of got in on Hazelbaker, but he kind of fought it off to left field, and it dropped in front of Conforto. Good hustle.
And the Pete Rose head first slide. So first hit of the game that Noah Syndergaard has given up. Colton Wong, who flied out to center field in the first inning. Cardinals a runner in scoring position with 2 outs here in the third.
Well, we showed you earlier his ERA, 150 innings pitched as a Met in Mets history, but you can see last year comparison with the other youngsters in baseball, the rookies. He also had the most strikeouts with 166.
Hit in the air into left field. Conforto cruising in, and Syndergaard works his way out of trouble. And so a terrific afternoon for Noah Syndergaard as we go to the bottom of the third. On Saturday night, April 9th, when the Mets take on the Phillies for the first fireworks night of 2016, presented by Coca-Cola. After the game, fans can enjoy an exciting fireworks show that will light up the sky. For tickets, visit Mets.com/fireworks. Curtis Granderson steps in, popped out second base in the first inning.
That's the first week of games, right? How crazy is it that the Mets are going to open up in Kansas City?
I mean, did I read that the Royals are going to have the ring ceremony one night and the flag raising the other night?
Yeah, they're going to max it out. The Mets are going to have to watch a lot of celebrating by the Royals.
Jaime Garcia still on the mound for the Cardinals. Here's the 2-0 pitch.
Now, in midseason form, that's one of those pitches that Curtis probably takes because it was out of the strike zone. But, you know, you're working on your game here early in spring, and he couldn't keep the bat back.
Granderson, best walk rate of his career last season at a .364 on base percentage. Hits it on the ground to second. Wong down to a knee. And Granderson is retired. Tejada came in for Asdrubal Cabrera, and we've gotten news that it's a sore knee that Cabrera is dealing with.
Yeah, sore left knee for Cabrera. Sore is better than worse news, but you never really know how serious it is.
Tejada down to third. Garcia with no trouble, second out of the bottom of the third inning.
It's Josh Smoker getting loose for the Mets. We saw Jerry Blevins up, but that was if it was in the middle of the inning. Blevins would have come in, but to start an inning, I'm going to go with Smoker. You know what's fun about this, Gary, is that it shows you in the major leagues there's different ways to get people out. We just saw Syndergaard throwing 95 plus, great hammer. And Garcia, who's more of a touch and feel kind of pitcher, has to pitch around the strike zone, but equally as effective.
Mm-hmm. You went to Cespedes, flat out to center in the first inning.
One of the great success stories from the Naval Academy. Mitch Harris now up for the Cardinals.
Going to make his first appearance of the spring. He's been dealing with some shoulder soreness. Isn't he the first Naval Academy player to play in the big league since 1921?
Yeah, right.
Count even, 1-1 to Cespedes. Nobody on. In the hole at short. Diaz down to a knee. Look at that arm. And again, Adams cannot pick it up out of the dirt.
Well, this throw here by Diaz, good play to get over there. But Adams just did not know whether to go out and get it or to stay back. And he stayed back, and it ensured that he would get a bad hop. He's got to go out and get that play. That's a play I think that your shortstop would want your first baseman to make.
That's a pretty big hop over there.
Yeah. He just got caught in between.
So 2 outs here in the third. Lucas Duda hits it hard into center field. Pham has it lined up, and Tommy Pham records the final out here as we head to the top of the fourth inning. No score at Port St. Lucie. Time to check in around the majors right now. It's presented by Citi. Justin Upton leaving yesterday's game for the Tigers against the Nationals. Sore left ankle. Jake Arrieta made his debut this spring yesterday. Impressive again. How about Prince Fielder leaving the team yesterday to participate in a 48-hour sleep study? He's been having some sleep issues.
It's no joke. Hopefully he can take care of that.
Josh Smoker is the new pitcher for the Mets, and right now we send it down to Steve Gelbs with the starting pitcher, and awfully impressive today, Noah Syndergaard.
Awfully impressive indeed, Gary. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I think that's all what spring training is all about, going out there and just getting your feet wet, just trying to amp it down a little bit. That didn't really work too well. My heart was racing a little bit out there, but overall it's a pretty solid outing, and I look forward to my next one.
Anything you're working on in particular here?
Just been able to repeat my delivery as much as possible. I've been working with the slider here and there, so just trying to get a feel for that.
You say that spring training is all about just having fun, getting your work in, but realistically, when you look at it is raining sunflower seeds, so the guys are having fun at least.
Sunflower seeds.
When you do look at last year to this year, though, last season, so much to prove in spring training for you. How different is this spring training now without any of that hanging over your head?
I just feel a lot more comfortable out here. I feel like my personality is a little shy at first, but once you get to know me, really get to see the true colors coming out, and I just feel myself right now.
Your personality, we saw it in spring training. You're doing a pretty good job here just maintaining, as everybody on the starting pitching staff is throwing sunflower seeds at you. But nothing seems to faze you. Last season, we have to talk about it, Game 3 of the World Series, that first pitch to Alcides Escobar. That personality, has that always been there? Has that presence always been there, and you just felt more comfortable bringing it out as the year went on?
I would say off the field, that's not really what my personality is, but once I'm on the field and between the lines, I'm out there and I'm be a competitor and do whatever's possible to put the team in a situation to win the ball game.
How important is that persona for you?
I mean, every time you can go up there and have the hitter feel a little bit uncomfortable in the box, it's just an advantage to yourself.
You know, when you look towards this season, we had Curtis Granderson on yesterday, and he said one of the big differences when you have a target on your back is that there are no surprises. And he mentioned you, he mentioned Steven Matz, that people had heard about you as Piscotty walks, but until you see it up close and personal, you don't really know. So this time around, there won't be any surprises. How do you stay ahead of that curve in year 2?
I just try not to pay attention to outside influences, to what people think. I go out there and try to be the best pitcher I can be each and every day.
One of the ways that you do that, Dan Worthen says all the time that you're a sponge here in the dugout, that you're constantly asking him questions. What are the types of things that you are communicating with him about, not just during your starts, but when you're watching some of the other guys?
Oh, God, anything and everything. I'm always picking Dan's brain and even the other starting pitchers' brains, trying to learn something new each and every day. Trying not to take each day for granted. You don't know when it's going to be your last, and we have to play a game for a living, so I'm very thankful for that, and I want to be able to play it as much as I can. Is
there one guy in particular this spring or maybe last season on the pitching staff that you did pick up something from that you've incorporated now?
Big Sexy, of course, Bartolo. He's just, I mean, one thing that sometimes we forget to think about is going out there and having fun. It's a game, and he's the epitome of going out there and having fun.
And those Big Sexy shirts, seems like they went over pretty well at Christmas with your family?
Yeah, they were a big hit.
All right. No, appreciate the time. Great start to spring training here, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Gary, back to you.
All right, Steve. No, boy, I really like that guy and the way he, look, trying to have fun out here today as Piscotty takes off for second, easily steals second base.
A couple of things you don't like to see from Smoker here. Walks Piscotty to lead off the inning and allows the stolen base. Huge jump here by Piscotty, who goes on first move. That look in makes you feel as though it might have been a hit and run, but
so Brandon Moss with a runner in scoring position. Nobody out here. Top of the 4th inning. Is that something Mets catchers and pitchers too try to keep guys closer this year and are concentrating on?
I always feel like as a left-hander, guys should very rarely be able to steal a base off you. That's something that you can just work on. It's kind of like a hoops player in this foul shot. You know, you just work on it. And if you're left-handed and don't have a good move to first just because you have not spent time working on it, it's an easy thing.
Josh Smoker, former first-round pick of the Nationals back in 2007. Bounced on the ground over to first base. Eric Campbell, who's come into the game, handles it easily, and moving over to third is Piscotty. So Campbell's into the game at first base for the Mets. Tejada is in center, and Roger Bernardina has checked in right field.
So Cespedes and Granderson out pretty quickly.
As Matt Adams steps in with one out.
Interesting defensive alignment here. Tejada and Walker in about halfway. So not infield in, but they are in a position that if they do get a ground ball and Piscotty takes off, they might have a chance to have a play at the plate.
Fouled straight back. Smoker. Now that fastball velocity, he lost it when he had a couple of shoulder surgeries, and then it came back, worked his way back the Frontier League, and he's got that fastball up into the mid-90s again. Question is, can he control it well enough? Hit out into left field. Conforto looks up, and it's gone. With the wind blowing out, Matt Adams, a two-run homer to put the Cardinals in front.
Anything in the air to left field today is going. That was a beautiful swing from Adams, a line drive to left field, but because of the wind, it left the ballpark, and he's awfully strong.
6'3", 260 pounds, as I said earlier, known as the Big City, and now I think we have an indication as to why.
Look, a little fastball away, and he was all over it. Conforto didn't even go back on it. He knew it was gone right away.
Hit 17 home runs back in 2013, 15 more in 2014, but only 5 last year as he dealt with injury. They'd like to see him provide some power into this Cardinals lineup, as Brian Pena, who struck out in the second inning, takes a called strike. On the ground to shortstop, Tejada ranging to his left, and Campbell digs it out for the second out of the inning.
Baseball's a funny game, isn't it? Just when you thought that Ruben Tejada really had no place on this ball club, a little injury to Cabrera, and now he's back in there.
And plenty of reports over the last few days when Peralta went down in St. Louis, they'd be in search of somebody to be a stopgap. I know they've got Jed Jerko and Diaz as two guys who they're looking at internally, but I read numerous places Tejada's name is somebody they could potentially look to acquire, but it's so fluid. Jeurys Familia up in the Mets bullpen.
I think most folks who watch the Mets games know this, but the closers will pitch in the middle of the game because you just want to get them into the game. You want them to get to start an inning and then get them off the field.
Tommy Pham lines one into center field. Second hit of the inning for the Cards. But Tommy Pham's one of those guys. He does a lot of things well, but nothing great.
Well, the Cardinals, just whoever they call up, seem to come up and all winning players. They do something to help their team win every day. Piscotty, Grichuk.
You were saying when you saw Michael Wacha pitch here as a young man, he's still a young man, but where did this guy come from? Well, they just seem to churn these guys out.
Wacha was 3 seasons ago. Keith and I were doing the game, and Wacha, I think, pitched 4, maybe 5 innings in relief in a spring training game. And after he left, Keith and I looked at each other and said, whoa. I mean, it's not going to be long before he's in the major leagues. And then that postseason, he had the postseason of his life for the Cardinals.
Cardinals manager Mike Matheny, 5th year on the job. He's been to the postseason every year.
I mean, it was interesting to see Garcia there turning around to bunt for, I would think, a base hit, of course, with 2 outs. A lot of times in spring training, you'll go up there, and if you're a player that's not proven, manager might tell you, I want to see if you can get the ball on the ground and beat out a base hit. Of course, with 2 outs, you got a much better chance because the third baseman's playing back. Piscotty steals a base. That might be from the manager, too. Hey, I want to see if you can maybe get 10 or 12 bags this season.
Pham was on the run as it's bounced through the left side. Tejada vacated with Pham running, and Pham goes all the way to third, put runners corners.
Now, what you're supposed to do in this situation, if you're Tejada, is you come in first and then to the bag, because you want to read the bat of the hitter. So you want to make sure that you're in a position, if he hits the ball in the shortstop position, you can still make the play. Tejada went straight to the bag, which opened it up. It's more important to field your position with 2 outs than it is to cover for second for the stolen base.
Alamides Diaz, 4 for 4, couple of doubles, 2 RBI, and a run scored on Tuesday for the Cardinals. He really opened some eyes. He's opened some eyes in camp, period. But if this guy can hit, he's got a chance to see some time with Peralta, who, by the way, had surgery today. And Mike Matheny said for the game that it was successful surgery. That one has popped up, and Tejada calling for it, makes the catch. Cardinals get a couple of runs on the home run by Matt Adams. They take a 2-0 lead. Jaime Garcia back out there for a 4th inning, and Neil Walker sends one foul down the left field line. Walker struck out in the 1st inning. Walker's got some power. He hit 16 home runs season ago, 23 the year before that. So Mets are hoping he will provide that 15 to 20 home run slot at second base as Mitch Harris warms up. That sounds like a broken bat. Shortstop Diaz across the diamond. Today at 5:30, here Chris Carlin agreed to disagree as he goes head-to-head with his co-host on the latest NFL free agency news on Loudmouths. Today at 5:30, only here on SNY.
Who's Chris yelling at now?
I'm not sure who's in with him today. It's a varying rotation. Salicata, Mark Malusis, David McEnany. Michael Conforto bounces one to Colton Wong. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th.
So 2 at-bats for Conforto against the left-hander Garcia. He took a called 3rd strike and a weak ground out to second base.
Wilmer Flores got robbed of a base hit in the 2nd. That's played by Garcia down at 3rd. Flores had the day off yesterday, went 3 for 3 against the Braves on Tuesday up in Orlando.
There's Syndergaard getting his work in. I mean, that is the bane of the pitcher. After you're done, you go on the... It used to be you'd run on the field, but these complexes are so beautiful now. You can go on another field, and they have a strength and conditioning coach now. You used to do it on your own. Go to some field and get your running in. Now they have someone to make sure you do it.
1-1 pitch, and there for a called strike 2. The thing about Syndergaard is he is a workout freak. I mean, this guy can bench press over 500 pounds.
Really?
I believe so, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a lot of weight, Gary. You might have to get that correct.
He likes... I'm going to double check that.
Maybe squats 500.
Okay. I'm going to adjust. He can deadlift. Into center field. Pham can't get there. Bouncing off his glove. It's a single for Wilmer Flores. He can deadlift 500.
Yeah, I used to lift a little weight. 500 pounds is a little north for bench pressing. Nice try by Pham.
He is strong, though. I think that's going to be all for Jaime Garcia.
Oh, nice outing, though. Gets 2 outs here in the 4th.
So Mitch Harris making his way in from the bullpen. Solid outing from Jaime Garcia. The Flamingos enjoying this day.
We invited you here today to get your honest opinion.
The new Cardinals pitcher attended the U.S. Naval Academy, making his first spring appearance. As I said earlier, he's been dealing with a bit of a shoulder issue.
Trying to clean up this 4th inning for Garcia. Straight over the top. Throws a little bit like their closer, Trevor Rosenthal. Now, you asked before, he's the first since 1921 from the Naval Academy to play in the major leagues. And you ask, well, why is that? There's fine athletes there. Well, they have the commitment, 5-year commitment that they have to give to the Naval Academy after they graduate.
Plawecki on the ground. Kolten Wong, another chance, another out. So Mitch Harris gets the job done. We go to the 5th inning with the Mets down 2-0. Jeurys Familia on to pitch here in the 5th inning for the Amazons, making his 2nd appearance of the spring.
Boy, look at those numbers, Gary, from last year. Just a whirlwind of a year. Started with thinking he was going to be the setup man and ends up being the closer, and just hard to find anyone who had a better first year as a closer than Familia did.
He's arguably the best closer in the National League. I mean, the case could be made.
I think to have that one pitch back, didn't he? Alex Gordon last year.
I was awfully impressed when I remember that game. Remember that long game, that rain game, when things really hit the bottom for the Mets. It was against the Padres, and they squandered that lead, went to extra innings, and you thought, well, this is about as low as it's going to get. And Familia was right in the middle of that. He bounced back and didn't show any ill effects from that. I think his makeup and his character were on display right there.
I'll never forget that game because there was only one hitter on the Padres that you didn't want up with the rain coming down. It was Derek Norris. He had 3 hits in the game, looking for his 4th hit. Any hitter is always looking for that 4th hit. Even Justin Upton, who would later hit the home run, was hoping that the game would end. You know, I mean, he really wasn't taking it seriously until he had to go out there, and then he hit that home run to right center.
Jeremy Hazelbaker is the first man Familia is facing. He doubled in the 3rd. Bounced on the ground. Ty Kelly, the new second baseman. And he throws out Hazelbaker.
Well, not sure if he's the best closer, but I will say Familia has the best sinking fastball of anyone in the National League. It's like a bowling ball up there. Hard to elevate it.
That's a pitch he's worked on for a while, but really just last year, fair to say it's the first time he really put it into game use?
Well, you know, he was a starter for so long, so when you would see him here in spring training, you know, you'd see the full assortment of pitches, and you'd say, boy, this kid has a lot of promise, he has a chance. But he went from being a really good prospect as a starter to a great prospect as a closer or as a relief guy, because his stuff plays better 1 inning at a time.
All the way to the backstop to Kolten Wong, who flied out to center in the 1st inning, flied out to left in the 3rd. Wong from Hilo, Hawaii.
Mets have always had a great history of having players that were born in Hawaii. And the Cardinals have 2 that played at the University of Hawaii on their team. Wong, who just signed a new contract, 5-year contract.
Familia quick off the mound, juggles it, regains it, and gets the out.
Remember, there was a time that Jay Urias struggled with throwing the ball around the infield, and he seemed to have cured that. Accurate throw to first.
That confidence, is that just more time out there, the game slowing down?
No, it's hard work. He would go on the backfields, and Tim Tuffle would hit him ground ball after ground ball until he figured it out. They say in golf, you find your swing in the dirt. Well, he went out in the dirt and figured out how to get the ball over to first base.
So 2 outs here in the 5th inning.
There's the big sexy, as Noah Syndergaard referred to Bartolo Colon.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating to read an article recently that he, you look at, boy, that's hit hard and under the glove of a diving Wilmer Flores. So Piscotty is aboard again.
Well, Piscotty last year kind of had the same sample size as Michael Conforto. He played in 63 games, hit 7 home runs. He's a guy that they always thought his power would come at some point, and it's starting to.
Piscotty exits. Charlie Tilson is the pinch runner. Piscotty, Stanford graduate, degree in atmospheric engineering. So Tilson took off. I'm going to go back to first.
Do you find it interesting that the Cardinals, the kind of baseball they're playing here in spring training, that's the 3rd time they've started a runner? Buttoned up style of baseball, the Cardinals, every day.
Seems like it doesn't matter who the players are, who the manager is. It's a system and an organization that has been in place for so many years that has had such great success. Again, Tilson takes off, and really good throw by Plawecki, and Tilson is out at second. Plawecki getting rid of it quickly, and we go to the bottom of the 5th. It's 2-0. The Cardinals have the lead. Game recap presented by Ford. Noah Syndergaard, really great start. His first outing of the spring, 3 innings, a hit, no runs. 29 of his 38 pitches were for strikes. Yoenis Cespedes getting another start in center field is Dilson Herrera. New catcher for the Cardinals, Carson Kelly is in there. Dean Anna is the new second baseman, and Charlie Tilson has moved into right field after pinch running. Herrera takes a called strike. I think that's the toughest thing, Ronnie, during these spring games, these Grapefruit League games, keeping track of all the changes.
You're right on top of it, Gary.
Well, a lot of help from you and everybody involved here.
The most important question I wanted to ask you today.
Yes.
Did you happen to go? You told me that you were going to go and check out Twitter. Did you do that yesterday?
Here was the thing. I did not.
I advised you not.
You did, and you were of good counsel as Herrera goes down on strike swinging. You were of good counsel because I didn't go on there for a long time.
Okay.
I saw a couple of comments. Some positive, the negative ones, I called my therapist.
Right.
Everything was taken care of.
You know what we should do like they do on the Jimmy Kimmel show? At some point we should read the mean tweets.
Yes, that would be funny. That would be great. Roger Bernardina up for the first time.
Bernardina, if you remember his name, as you see Robert Zellman up warming up for the Mets. Bernardina, many years with the Nationals, always seemed to get some big hits against the Mets.
So if they kill you, go ahead and sign them. Put them on your side. Bernardina in a hole, 0-2. You know, he talked about the fact that when you go to the Naval Academy, there's that service, and Mitch Harris, I'll refer to him as Lieutenant Mitch Harris.
There you go.
Went on 3 tours: Persian Gulf as a weapons officer, Russia on a diplomatic mission, and then to South America on an anti-drug operation. So Bernardina through the right side into right field for a base hit. Cardinals won 100 games a year ago, got knocked out by the Cubs in the postseason, but pretty impressive what they've done.
Yeah, 100 wins. You know, what's interesting about the Cardinals is that they always seem to get it done. Last year they didn't hit a lot, but they pitched great. Walker had 17 wins. They lost their ace, Wainwright. Didn't matter. Still won 100. But you could see a scenario where maybe they don't get in the playoffs this year. I mean, the Cubs are better. The Cubs also stole 2 of their players, not stole, but signed them, Hayward and Lackey. And the Pirates are, you know, every year 95 plus. But I mean, look at that National League Central, 198-97. And Milwaukee and Cincinnati again are going to struggle. So those are 2 teams that those 3 will beat up on again.
A lot of people think the Cubs are the favorites to win the National League. Acquisitions of Zobrist, and you mentioned Hayward and Lackey. They got Adam Warren in the trade for Starlin Castro. Look at the Pirates. McCutchen, Marte, Polanco.
I mean, arguably maybe the best young outfield in all of baseball. McCutchen, what a player he is. Every year, top 5 in MVP votes.
Ruben Tejada grounded down to third in the 3rd inning. Replaced Asdrubal Cabrera, who left the game in the 1st inning with a sore left knee. 1 out, runner on first. Tejada in the air to left field and deep. Back goes Moss, and he watches it. It's a home run for Ruben Tejada. Ruben Tejada, his first home run of the spring, and the Mets have tied the game at 2-2.
Well, Cabrera goes out with a little sore left knee, gives Tejada an opportunity to play, and he makes the most of it with a 2-run home run. Every hitter feels strong with this wind blowing out to left field.
Ruben Tejada, one of those guys who has had 9 lives, and he continues to have more. Alejandro Diaz takes ball 1.
You could tell if that was a fastball or a cutter from Harris, but covered by Tejada.
Daza to second. Dean Anna over to Adams. Second out of the inning.
Boy, it was windier when the game started. The wind is so bad. It's
well, those aren't real flags, right? Those are like metal, I think.
That's right. You got it.
They look in the shape of flags. The first ones we saw were flags. Eric Campbell swings through it. Well, the first thing you said to me, Ronnie, when I came up to the booth yesterday is take a look at the flags out in right center. And that's a pretty good indication. And wind is blowing out to left here. Campbell hits it hard. Eric Campbell, a 2-out single.
You want to know which way the wind's blowing? All you have to do is ask a former pitcher. Every pitcher knows when they come to the ballpark where the wind is blowing.
Would you check one of the first things you would do? First thing you check?
Big time.
You know, they always talk about the wind at Wrigley. Was it more pronounced there than other places?
Oh, yeah. Wrigley, when it's blowing out, any kind of pop-up will go out of the ballpark. But what will happen is that, let's say you're facing a left-hander. And instead of saying to yourself, like Adams got that fastball away, hit it over the left field wall, if you're behind in the count, you'd be more apt to come in with the wind blowing in from right field than you would be to go away. You know, seeing Harris out there reminds me of David Robinson, remember the fantastic basketball player?
The Admiral.
Yeah, the Admiral. He petitioned the Navy and ended up going right to the NBA. Harris had petitioned a couple of times, was turned down, and then went on those tours that you talked about. So a late start to his professional baseball career.
You really do root for guys like that.
You really do.
I mean, he's serving the country. And Ty Kelly, his first at bat, and off goes Campbell. And he steals second base.
Well, usually a lot of green lights in spring training. And when you're a guy like Campbell's trying to win a spot on the roster, you do whatever it takes. That means stealing a bag, so be it.
So the Mets with the go-ahead run now at second. Mitch Harris facing Ty Kelly. Takes a called strike, evens the count at 2-2. Kelly's been pretty versatile. We've seen him in left field, saw him in left field yesterday, getting time at second base today.
Have to be careful if you're Campbell. In spring training, teams tend to use that pickoff move at second base more than they will in the regular season because you're working on it.
That one's up high, evens the count. Mets will be in Vieira tomorrow, going to take on the Nationals again before coming back here to play the Cardinals split squad team on Saturday. And Ty Kelly looks at a called third strike. But the Mets do damage. They get the big home run from Ruben Tejada to even this game up at 2-2 as we go to the top of the 6th inning here in Port St. Lucie.
right, guys, I want to show you some.
For today's game here in Port St. Lucie, the work never seems to end. They are long days, Ronnie.
Yes, they are.
They are long days. And the fundamentals, you cannot over stress the importance of the fundamentals. New catcher for the Mets, Nevin Ashley. New battery all the way around. Robert Gazelman on the mound and Gavin Cecchini in there at shortstop. Gazelman gets Moss to ground to Cecchini. Fires across and gets the out. Let's go downstairs. Steve Gelbs with Kevin Plawecki.
Thanks, Gare. Kevin, you got a really front row seat to Noah Syndergaard's day today. Looked pretty good from our perspective. What about from yours?
Yeah, no, he looked great. Had great command with all of his pitches, fastball, off-speed stuff. Got some counts, and he made some pitches when he had to, so it was good to see.
You maybe know Noah Syndergaard better than anybody does in terms of the relationship you built up with him in AAA, then last season, obviously, as well. What does he look like when, in your mind, now compared to what he did at the beginning of the season last year?
Well, I mean, he's always had great stuff, but I mean, I think just start after start, he kept putting them back to back to back, and just got that confidence going and that rhythm going for him, and he hasn't looked back. So it's been fun to see, and it's been fun to catch, that's for sure.
For you, Kevin, last year was your first year in the major leagues. What was the biggest surprise challenge when you look back on it?
You know, I really can't pinpoint one thing. It's just I learned so much last year, both offensively and defensively. It's just you know, I learned how to prepare, you know, each and every day, you know, studying opposing hitters and studying pitchers from the opposing team. So I learned a lot, took away a lot, and very excited for what this year has in store.
It's obviously a big jump coming from AAA to the majors. Was there something that you thought when you were in the minor leagues, you know what, I'm really good at it, and then you get to the major leagues, you face major league pitching, and you say, hold on a second, maybe we got to work on this?
Well, it definitely exploits some things, that's for sure, but that's why, you know, in this game, you're constantly learning, constantly trying to get better, and you know, last year was, you know, a great learning experience for me, and I learned a ton, not only playing wise, but just being on the bench with, you know, guys like Kadire and everything like that. Learned so much. So you know, like I said, I'm really excited for the season.
What did you pinpoint when you looked back on last season as the thing you needed to improve? I know you're changing your swing a little bit. What is it that you are working on in particular? Yeah,
we just made some adjustments with you know, Kevin Long and Pat, and just working on widening out a little bit, and just being more consistent with my lower half and my hands and everything. So we're definitely moving moving in the right direction. I feel very comfortable. So, very happy with the way that's going.
A lot of people are somewhat surprised sometimes when they hear about the relationship you have with Travis d'Arnaud. Two guys, two young catchers. Obviously, only one of you can play at any given time. What is that relationship, though, and how has it developed?
No, I mean, it's a great relationship, both on the field and off. We get along very well. I think it's, I've said it before, I think it's great for our relationship. I think it's great for this team to have that relationship with each other. We work together really well. We bounce ideas off each other, and we don't hold back from, talking to each other. If we have a question, we feel very comfortable going to each other. So it's just one of those things that we kind of just embrace, and it's good for us, and it's good for the team.
Finally, Kevin, last season, for a large stretch of time, you were dealing with some sinus issues, didn't quite know what they were. You had off-season surgery to clear that up a little bit. How different does it feel now, and really, how much did that affect you when you look back on it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to say that it was, to blame wholly last year, but I mean, I felt pretty terrible for a little while, but just happy to have that in the past. Really, I'm just ready to move on from that, and glad that we're able to figure out what was causing some of that stuff, and just, ready for another good season, and, ready to put that behind me, that's for sure.
As always, Kevin, appreciate the time.
Thanks.
Gary?
Thank you, Steve. If that young man can hit like they believe that he can, it'll be a pretty good weapon.
Well, I think what's interesting in today's game, when you
David Washington, by the way, is the pinch runner at second, and Carson Kelly is up at the plate.
Well, in days gone by, it would filter through the league. That ball looked like it hit the end of the bat and not. I thought it hit the knob of the bat. Am I wrong? Let me see. Top of the hand. Terry Collins is yelling at the umpire. Did that ball hit him? Because he thinks it hit the end of the bat too. See Terry Collins? He's
you can hear it loud and
that
clear.
Ball hit him?
Where did it hit him? Asking the home plate umpire, David Rackley. Watch it again. That's really close.
Well, see, the issue is that most big league hitters, when they grip the bat, that last kind of pinky finger is usually draped over the end of the bat, so it can even hit the end of the bat but still catch a piece of flesh.
So the hand does not stop at the knob?
That's right. No. Sometimes they'll be draped over just a little bit. I was saying when we were talking about Plawecki and Steve's interview, is that it's probably one of the most difficult times to be a young player, because it used to be how to pitch you would kind of filter around the league after some time. But now they got you on tape. So after 25, 30 at-bats, it gets around the league very quickly if you have a couple of consistent holes.
Cardinals have first and second with one out. Tommy Pham, who singled last time up in the fourth inning. That's wide of third. So Travis d'Arnaud is the Mets starting catcher, and they need him to stay on the field.
And when I look at this, I think to myself, okay, you put them together, you got 16 and 62. That's what you'd expect those kind of numbers or more from Travis d'Arnaud if he's able to stay on the field.
That pitch is up high. Count goes to 2-1. I looked at the numbers on d'Arnaud. The Mets scored, when he was on the field last year, the Mets averaged 5 runs per game. And without d'Arnaud, it was almost a run and a half less. Now, I'm sure some of that has to do with the fact that he came back and Cespedes was a part of the late season run, as that one is popped up. Gazelman makes the catch for the second out.
There's something you don't see every day, is that pitcher taking charge, catching the pop-up.
It didn't go that high.
Well, it didn't go that high, and Campbell wasn't going to get there. So he had to make it. See, Eric Campbell, he had to run around the runner.
Yes.
So he wasn't going to get there in time, or if he did, it would have been maybe with a dive.
So going back to that, Ronnie, the importance of d'Arnaud to this offense. Can it be overstated?
No, I don't think it can. I think he's an incredibly important bat for this lineup. He gives that lineup incredible length, where if you're a pitcher facing the Mets lineup, you say to yourself, boy, there's not an easy out in the entire lineup.
Greg Garcia with 2 on and 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning.
There's Jordan Walden, the former Angel and Brave, now with the Cardinals.
Hit out to short center field. Tejada on the run and makes the catch to end the inning. So the Cardinals threaten, but we go to the bottom of the 6th, tied at 2. Our next SNY game coming up on the 18th of this month. Mets and the Washington Nationals. They play the Nationals a lot. Just up the road in Vieira, Florida. Jordan Walden is the new pitcher for the Cardinals.
Walden, who has outstanding stuff, an unusual style of pitching. I think he and Carter Capps, who's out for the season with the Marlins, have a unique style of kind of jumping at the hitter as they throw. He loses contact with the rubber with that back foot before he releases the baseball. Conforto 2 at-bats against a left-hander, 0 for 2. Now his first one against a righty.
Well, we got used to seeing that little hop step in Atlanta with Walden. Does he generate where does his power come from?
You know, it reminds me maybe like when he was a kid, because, you know, you learn how to throw and you don't really adapt too much differently than how you learned how to throw as a kid. But a lot of times I see pitching coaches work with young people and they try to get them to use their legs more by kind of jumping at the hitter. And Walden never lost that.
Conforto hammers one down the left field line, evens the count at 2-2.
This is what I was talking about. Watch that back foot, folks. How he jumps at the hitter, loses contact with the rubber, and then releases the baseball. Violent kind of action on that arm.
When you think about it in golf, Ronnie, I mean, the power of the golf swing is, you know, when you get the club back, it's on the inside, and it doesn't matter really how you get it back. You look at Jim Furyk, right?
That's right.
Different guys have different ways to get it back. It's how you slot it, and then find your power. Same thing with a pitcher.
Well, this,
in similar ways.
But this is more of the Charles Barkley golf swing here by Walden.
Conforto goes down on strikes. Carson Kelly completes the out. First out here in the bottom of the 6th.
And we talk about his motion, but I haven't talked about he's got outstanding stuff. Throws hard. He's got a good slider, and he's developed a better changeup in the last couple of seasons.
So Michael Conforto, 2 strikeouts on the day, is Wilmer Flores 1 for 2. Grounded down to third in the 2nd inning and singled in the 4th. Into center field, another hit for Wilmer Flores, who's on base for the 2nd time today.
Well, first pitch hitting for Flores. It's the one thing I see a little different since Kevin Long has come over as the hitting coach, is that if the Mets do get a good pitch hit on the first pitch, they're a little more aggressive than they were prior to him coming.
Nevin Ashley, his first at bat today, as Danny Muno is the new pinch runner over at first base. And that hits Ashley on the arm.
Ashley's so big, he just rubs it off, but it hit him right in the right forearm.
So the Mets have 2 on here against Jordan Walden. Dilson Herrera 0 for 2. Now 3 for 17 on the spring. Roger Bernardino waits on deck. Austin Gomber warming up in the Cardinals bullpen.
Well, Kelly out to talk to Walden. If there's one Achilles heel for Jordan, is his control. Sometimes can be fleeting.
Well, Mike Matheny, as you mentioned earlier, he's a catcher by trade, and so I would imagine that they've got such a great catcher in Yadier Molina, who, by the way, played in his first spring game yesterday. Didn't bat, but he did have a swipe tag that had everybody holding their breaths as Herrera fouls it back. Sort of a similar play to the one he got injured on last year.
Well, he's hurt his thumb a couple of different ways. One on that swipe tag you're talking about, but he also hurt it sliding into third base once. So that thumb has been an issue for Yadi.
2-1 to Herrera, 2 on. Another one fouled off.
I mean, when you look around baseball and you try to think about players that a team can't be without, Molina's top of that list.
He's like another manager on the mound.
He really is.
Herrera down the right field line, long run over there for Washington, but he can't get there. And we speak so much about the Mets pitching staff and the importance that the Mets catchers, the responsibility that they shoulder. Cardinals have a pretty good staff themselves, and there is a lot of responsibility on the catcher, and Molina sort of guides that staff.
Well, what happens is when you have a catcher of Molina's ilk is that as a team you have to do less because he will do more.
Another one popped up. This one's going to stay in play, and Rodriguez makes the catch, and that's the second out of the inning. Jordan Walden getting the second out.
Well, you see the comparison between the two teams' starting staffs, and all the numbers are outstanding. The Mets have an edge, of course, in strikeouts, but both outstanding.
Cardinals without Wainwright for most of the year.
They'll have him hopefully for most of the year this year. They got added Mike Leake in the offseason.
Mike Leake, 5 years, if I'm not mistaken, $80 million. He's an innings eater. He's the guy who takes the ball.
He does.
Yep.
He does. He reminds me of a new version of Bronson Arroyo.
Bernardina fouls it down the left field line. Long run over there for Tilson, who moved over from right to left, and he makes the catch. We go to the 7th, tied at 2.
Looking at these.
Of insiders connect with fans via social media to tackle all your questions about the latest Mets news, plus game highlights, up to the minute reports from camp. It's Mets Talk Live, presented by Rally BMW, tonight at 6, only right here on SNY. Ledmys Diaz 0 for 2, struck out in the 3rd inning, popped out to shortstop in the 4th inning. Robert Gesellman, 2nd inning of work for the Amazons.
I like Gesellman. He's got a nice live arm. A lot of movement on his fastball.
You see it from a distance, you might think that's DeGrom.
He's all inked up on the left side. The moneymaker, he doesn't let him touch.
Diaz lays down a bunt. Gesellman quick off the mound. That's a pretty good play right there by Robert Gesellman. Almost lost his footing.
Yeah, it might have twisted an ankle a little bit. What an outstanding play, because the ball, the direction of it's not great, but it was bunted so hard it almost got past Gesellman, who made a fine play.
Saw the ankle almost give out on him. Gesellman, the sterling organizational pitcher of the year last season for the Mets.
Terry Collins, like he did with Cabrera earlier in the game, wants to make sure that his pitcher's 100%. Watch his ankle as he tries to stop. Kind of did a stutter step. See, the why the manager goes out is because if you're a young kid trying to make a ball club or impress, you're going to always say that you're 100%. And he wants to make sure he goes out there and doesn't, you know, if you hurt your ankle a little bit, it could affect your arm at some point.
You can see that left ankle sort of gave a little bit. The turf looked a little bit soft. Jeremy Hazelbaker, who doubled in the 3rd inning, his 3rd at bat of the day. Gesellman's got some pretty good sink, heavy life on that fastball of his. And Hazelbaker has his 2nd hit of the afternoon as he drops a single into left field.
Should say Hazelbaker was in the Red Sox organization for a long time.
8 years.
Yeah.
8 years with the Red Sox, and then out to the West Coast Dodgers organization, and then to the Cardinals last year. Gesellman working out of the stretch. Cicchini turns the double play, and Gesellman gets out of any sort of trouble. So Robert Gesellman and the Mets, Ty Kelly and Gavin Cicchini getting together. We go to the bottom of the 7th. We're still tied. Austin Gomber is the new pitcher for the Cardinals.
I mean, look at those numbers in Class A Peoria last year for Gomber. 50-3.
Facing Gavin Cicchini.
I mean, it's hard to win 15 games in the minor leagues.
Buddy Carlisle in the Mets bullpen. Gomber is somebody who was signed the 3rd round out of Florida Atlantic University in 2014. Another guy who, was not all that heralded, but as you pointed out, Ronnie, he's put up some pretty good numbers.
Well, you have a really hard time now in baseball if you don't throw 95 miles an hour. That's what the scouts are looking for, because they can come back to their boss and say, hey, did you see anyone good? Well, I don't know if he's any good, but he throws 96 miles an hour. So for the guys who don't throw that hard, it's a little more difficult. There's our scouts. Now it's the real good ones that find that diamond in the rough. I mean, anybody can scout Bryce Harper and say, boy, he's going to be a great player. But it's finding those, those little players here or there that are going to help your team. And maybe Gomber is going to help the Cardinals in the near future.
Into right field, just foul off the bat of Gavin Cicchini.
You know, Gary, there was a double play there at the end of the inning. Watch Cheney at second base. Remember, there's a new rule now that neighborhood play, the play that's always been taken for granted for the first 100+ years of baseball. Now you have to make sure you're on the bag when you catch the ball. You can make the argument that he's not. So what's going to happen in pace of play is that during the regular season, the Cardinals manager, Mike Matheny, will get someone that's sitting in the clubhouse, tell him he was not on the bag. He will go and argue it, and the guy will be safe at second base and first.
Well, that's not even an argument right there. He was not on the bag. And so I think it goes to a bigger question, Ron. When you look at the changing of the rules over the last few years, we know about what happened with home plate collisions, and now, you know, the latest straw that really caused all this was the Utley play in the NLDS against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But what you've done, and I thought about this, the fact that Molina got hurt on a swipe tag, right? Because he wasn't blocking the plate.
That's right.
And so while you're taking away one set of injuries, which is, you know, Posey getting run over, which sort of was what led to that rule, you've sort of created a new injury because he put the tag out there and hurt his thumb.
Well, and think about the second base rules. It's almost counterintuitive when you think about it. So you're saying that we don't want the guys who are sliding in on double play to upend the shortstop or second baseman, but then we're saying, but we want you to stay on the base longer. So it's going to create more conflict around the bag at second base because you're going to have those infielders having to stay on the bag a little longer than you'd want to. So it's going to have two guys in the same area more often. And what I don't like, that play at second, we saw the double play. Okay, Cheney was not on the bag. But how beautiful is that play? That's one of the best ballet plays that baseball has, and that might be taken out of play now because you have to make sure you stay on the bag.
Well, you saw Terry Collins' initial reaction when they announced the change in the rule. And he was originally not thrilled with it. Exactly what you're talking about, because now you've got two people coming from different directions ready to intersect. And that's concerning. As Tejada hits it up the middle. Speaking about collisions, Dean Anna and Diaz collide, and everybody's safe. There was nothing beautiful about that. There was no New York City ballet in that move.
That's right. Well, on this play here, the second baseman has it pretty easily. But, you know, what happens with Diaz is a lot of times the second baseman will give way to the shortstop because he's coming and his momentum is coming towards first. I mean, you very rarely see this happen with middle infielders, but another one of those things that has to be ironed out in spring training.
The last thing the Cardinals need is another injury to a middle infielder. The Mets have two on here with nobody out in the bottom of the seventh, all tied at 2. Eric Campbell walked in the first inning, flat out to center field in the third, and then singled and stole second in the fifth.
You know, one of the best I've ever seen. We got the Cardinals here. We should talk about them. You know, you had Ozzie Smith and Tommy Herr, and they could turn a double play unbelievably. But Tommy Herr, he would catch the ball at second base when Ozzie would give it to him, just straddling the bag. Never even touch it and just make the turn. That would be a play you can't do anymore.
That was an outstanding infield.
Yeah.
When you think it was Terry Pendleton down at third and Jack Clark for a while at first base. And then Todd Zeal behind the plate. Tom Pagnozzi for a little bit. Those were really good Cardinal teams.
Pendleton was a gold glover himself at third base.
How about that left side? Ozzie and Pendleton. And Herr, I mean, Herr was tremendous at second.
Ozzie's the only player that I used to come out early when he was in St. Louis taking ground balls to watch him take ground balls. That's how amazing it was.
Campbell walks, and that's going to load the bases. With Ty Kelly coming up and Austin Gomber in some trouble. Second walk that he's issued here in the inning. You say that about Ozzie, and he's always been one of my favorites. But Jack Clark, I used to stand behind the batting cage and watch Jack Clark. His bat made a sound that not many bats make. Oh, gosh, he was strong.
Well, I contributed to that, I'm sure, many times.
So Ty Kelly with the bases loaded. Struck out looking in the 5th inning.
Well, you see the defense is double play depth, pinched in on the corners. It's interesting. I talked about the numbers that Gomper had in Peoria, 15-3. Well, this isn't Peoria. This is big league spring training camp. Sometimes hard to find your control.
Count even at 1-1. And there for a called strike. Cicchini is down at 3rd. Diaz at 2nd. Eric Campbell at 1st. Bases loaded with Mets in the bottom of the 7th inning. Tied at 2 here in Port St. Lucie. Mets and the Cardinals. Kelly lays off the off-speed.
Well, Kelly argued the pitch before, and that could have been called a strike by home plate umpire David Rackley.
Gomber out of the stretch. Kelly to 3rd, and it's off the glove of Garcia. He gets the out at 1st, but the go-ahead run scores. As Gavin Cicchini comes in to give the Mets a 3-2 lead.
Well, this play could have been, if Garcia makes the play, hey, home the first double play. But he boots it, but he hustles to get there and make the play at first base. Boy, that's interesting that Kelly kind of slowed up there. You can't do that. And I'm saying in this way, not only the play at first base, you can't slow up because if he comes home, it could be a double play at first base. Got to be all out there.
Travis Taijeron up there for the Mets with runners at 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs.
I think by what happened to Kelly is that once Garcia booted it, he thought that Garcia no way was going to make that play. But the good hustle by Garcia got him at 1st. Never assume in this sport, right?
Well, certainly nobody should ever assume, but here's a guy who's trying to make a positive impression. You want to be busting it at all times. Mets have a chance to get a couple more here off Gomber.
All right, come on.
Big crowd here at Tradition Field today. A lot of Met fans, as you would expect, but a lot of red in the crowd.
Yeah, the Cardinals do have a nation of fans, don't they? They're, like a regional team. There's so many states that root for the Cardinals, and it goes all the way back to the KMOX days, right?
Yes.
When had the greatest signal, went to so many distant parts away from St. Louis.
Jack Buck, many years the voice of the Cardinals. Yeah, go crazy, folks. Can't believe what I just saw.
That's right.
And what a nice man.
Great guy.
Oh, gosh, his son Joe, now the face and the voice of Fox. Count even at 2 on Taijeron. Hits it into center field. Hits it well. And that is off the screen out there, and a 3-run home run for Travis Taijeron. Boy, that was hit well. And the Mets have opened the lead to 6-2.
Taijeron's got some serious pop. He's a big guy with a short stroke, and he made Gomper and Cardinals pay. Trying to come inside with that fastball, leaves it out over the middle. Beautiful power swing there from Taijeron.
And that's going to be all for Gomper, as Travis Taijeron opens this lead to 6-2. The Mets have taken control. Denny Keycaffer is the new pitcher for the Cardinals, and Danny Muno greets him with a single into right field.
Sorry, folks, we didn't catch that, but first pitch hitting by Muno.
Dean Keycaffer
produces a hit to the right side. This is Taijeron now off Gomper. Well, we're not going to see it. But the Taijeron's phone's going to blow up after that 3-run bomb.
Nevin Ashley into left field. Muno turns around second and stays there. So the Mets have 2 more base runners with 1 out here in the 7th inning. 4 runs up already on the board.
Ashley none the worse for wear. He was hitting his last at bat and now delivers a hard hit single. Boy, there's some big numbers for Travis Taijeron in AAA last year. 50 extra base hits.
Going from AAA to the big leagues as a power hitter, you know, over the years you see a lot of guys who are professional AAA players. That jump as a power hitter from the minors up to the bigs, it can be elusive for a lot of guys.
Well, what happens for a lot of times for power hitters is that they might be challenged a little bit defensively. So when they come up, they don't get the at-bats that they would like to get, that they get in AAA where they're playing every single day. So they might sit on the bench for a week before they get into a ball game. Hard to keep your stroke that way.
Ray Willie Gomez is the pinch hitter. Off Dean Keycaffer. 6 foot, 175 pounds. 36th round pick out of Louisville, spent last season in Memphis. AAA team for the Cardinals.
Cardinals leading in names today. Hazel Baker, Keycaffer.
Count goes to 2-1. Mets have blown late leads last couple of Grapefruit League games to the Cardinals. I should say to the Braves on Tuesday. And then yesterday as well as Gomez drops it into center field. Nobody's going to get there. And that's going to load the bases.
Well, the left-handers are not presenting too much of a problem for the Mets in this inning. Not hit hard, but dropped right in front of the center fielder. You see the runners kind of have to hold up with only 1 out. Not sure if the center fielder is going to make the play. So only could advance 1 base.
So the base is loaded for Roger Bernardina. The Cardinals, they're going to bring the infield in here.
Well, with the lefty-lefty matchup, that's why Matheny's bringing the infield in to try to stop the Mets from scoring. So this is something you wouldn't do maybe during the regular season because of the score 6-2, but you're working on this for later in a closer game during the regular season.
We mentioned that Didi Gregorius has spent most of his life in Curacao. If I'm not mistaken, on Bernardina, Curacao guy as well.
Well, they've produced some real good talent to come to the major leagues after Andrew Jones. Hensley Mullins, I think, was maybe the first player from Curacao. Hitting coach now for the Giants.
What's the language of Curacao?
Papamiento.
Papamiento.
Most of the players that come from Curacao can speak 3 or 4 languages, including Dutch, Spanish, English, Dutch, and Papamiento.
And what exactly is Papamiento?
It's a combination of, it's a native combination of a few languages.
Bases loaded with Mets as the ball boy slows us down for a moment. 2-1 on Bernardino. Cardinals infield is in. Well, Tapper. Keycaffer comes home, gets the lead out.
You know, that's a play that you don't see in spring training, and it's a play probably Munoz should not do. In spring training, the catcher is out there to make the catch from the pitcher, and he takes out his feet. Should not do that in spring training. That's a That's one of those things that in the regular season you definitely do it to stop the double play, but you do not want to do it in spring training.
So the base is still loaded. Gavin Cecchini up there for the Mets. Hits one to second. Anna goes to short, and that's going to do it. But the Mets get 4 here in the bottom of the 7th. 3 of them off the bat of Travis Taijeron to take a 6-2 lead. All year long with a constant stream of up-to-the-minute spring training news, exclusive interviews, special features, behind-the-scenes videos straight from Port St. Lucie on Mets Blog, presented by Citi, featured on SNY.TV. Wiley veteran Buddy Carlisle on to pitch for the Mets.
Yeah, injuries curtailed his career to only 11 games last season for Buddy.
Facing Charlie Tilson here in the top half of the 8th inning.
Tilson came on to run for Stephen Piscotty earlier in the game.
Fouled away and out of play.
Miguel Sokolovic warming up for the Cardinals.
Very nice. Again, we've had some interesting names.
That's right.
Tilson pops it up. Taijeron comes in, settles under it, and Travis Taijeron hauls in the first out of the inning. You know, Ronnie, you mentioned earlier Bryce Harper's name, and I thought it was really interesting, the article that's out there now with ESPN, the magazine, I believe, where he talked about the fact that, and I'm quoting him here, he said, baseball's tired. He believes the game needs more showmanship. You know, he mentioned a bunch of names in his comments. He even mentioned Matt Harvey and Jacob deGrom, Yasiel Puig, and Fernandez down in Miami. Guys who are not afraid at times to let their emotions show. What do you make of the comments?
I mean, the gist of the article to me, and calling the sport tired, which is a real baseball term, tired. The real gist of the article for me is that I think this younger generation of player, and listen, Bryce is at the top, he and Trout, of great young players in baseball. They just feel that the old unwritten rules of how you're supposed to act on a baseball field and not show anyone up and things like that, those days are past. He wants, I think he would like, and I'm speaking for him here, would like to see that showmanship. Now, I've changed a little bit. Jose Bautista in the playoffs, the most famous and recent bat flip, right? As a player, if I were facing Bautista, I would not like it. But as a fan and watching it, I loved it because it was just raw emotion. As a kid, you think about getting up in a situation and hitting the ball at the ballpark to win the game for your team. Right. He did it.
So it wasn't, hey, I'm showing you up with the bat. I get caught up in the moment. And you think there needs to be a differentiation there?
Well, I think that, I played with Dennis Eckersley, who used to, when he would strike out guys, point at him and like almost saying, go sit down because I just struck you out. And players hated it. That's one of those unwritten rules. I think what Bryce is saying is that let the pitcher celebrate because I'm going to celebrate when I take him deep.
Jonathan Rodriguez sends Roger Bernardino back. He hauls it in with the second out here, the top of the 8th inning.
I think that, honestly, there's, and I know what he's saying, because, I was raised on the unwritten rules where the sport maybe is tired in a way. But I think this new generation of players grown up thinking about their brand and thinking about baseball and in a different way, showing off a little bit, being able to show your emotions. And I'm not against that. But if you're a player that's going to show off against a pitcher, you have to be ready if he decides to make an exception for it and maybe drill you the next time you're up.
David Washington is the Cardinals batter. Does there need to be a distinction made here, Ronnie, when you think about individualism as compared to the good of the team? Well, how does that dynamic play out?
Well, exactly. I think that's the issue is that, is Bryce speaking as this will help the Nationals as a team? Remember last year when they signed Max Scherzer, he said, get us fitted for the rings because it's going to happen. Well, it didn't happen. But I do like that it's refreshing that Bryce will speak his mind because a lot of guys do not speak their mind. Do I totally believe it? No. But I think sometimes it can be counterintuitive to what the team is trying to do with an individual young player trying to make his brand a little better.
Buddy Carlisle, a 1-2-3 8th inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th, still 6-2.
Sunday.
We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Mets, dozen hits on the day. Lead the Cardinals 6-4, 6-2, I should say. Alejandro De Aza facing off against Miguel Sokolovic, the new Cardinals pitcher.
28 games last year for Sokolovic. It'll be interesting to see how much playing time De Aza gets, right? He's going to be right now he's the fifth outfielder. When you're the fifth outfielder, you don't get a lot of playing time. You might get some pinch running time.
Well, he came here with the impression that he was going to see some significant playing time as the fourth outfielder, with Yoenis Cespedes an unlikely re-signing.
Well, that's where you get kind of hurt, right? If you're a player and you're looking at your options of what teams you want to sign with, when he signed with the Mets, he's thinking, you know, this is going to give me an opportunity to show what I can do.
Tejada into the right field corner, around first, into second. He's going to make it to third for a stand-up triple. I think Washington had a little trouble with it out there in right field.
Yeah, misplayed by the right fielder. Nice job by Tejada picking up his third base coach and continuing on to third. Gets to it, runs against the fence. Not a lot of sense of urgency on Mr. Washington's part. Drops the ball, and once he dropped it, that's when Tejada took the extra base. Could be a double and an error if you wanted to.
It is. Ruled a double and an error.
Tejada's a good player. You know, he could provide off the bench. Let's say you have to hit for the pitcher leading off late in the game. He's got speed. He can manufacture a run. But I was just saying, you know, he signs with the Mets because he feels like he's going to get playing time, and then taken away from him when they sign Cespedes.
Eric Campbell with another runner in scoring position for the Mets. The Mets went on that second half run post trade deadline run last year, and a lot is made of Cespedes and when Conforto came up. But listen, their bench got a lot better when they got Johnson and Uribe. It really changed the complexion of the team. And Campbell robbed of a base hit by Anna. Youth sports, creating memories, friendships, and changing lives. SNY's Play Ball program looking to help local leagues in need with grants, equipment donations, and special clinics. If you know a local youth baseball or softball league in need, apply today at facebook.com/SNY. Tejada leads off third. Ty Kelly. Into right field, Washington ranging over to his right. It's going to be Tilson who makes the catch. He moved from left to center field, and Tejada tags and scores, and the Mets extend the lead to 7-2.
Good at bat by Kelly, getting that run in, insurance run. Tejada taking the extra base on the misplay. Scores the 7th run for the Mets. Gets Mr. Taijeron. See if he can double up here.
Travis Taijeron, 3-run home run in the 7th to break this game open.
Boy, I had to look twice. Taijeron's on-base percentage number. Did you see that? 393.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Taken for a called strike, evens the count at 1. Mets going to take on the Washington Nationals up in Vieira tomorrow, and then come back home, play the Cardinals again on Saturday. That game on Pix 11, beginning at 1 o'clock. I want to go back to the bench a moment ago. We were discussing the value of the bench. And for a long time, the Mets had a lot of guys coming up from the minors, Siciliani,
That's right. Muno.
And boy, again, when you got those guys, the professional big leaguers like Uribe and Johnson, it really does change the complexion of your team. And they have that with the Azes. Taijeron hits it very hard out into left field. But right there is Hazel Baker to make the catch. We go to the 9th inning. Hansel Robles on his way in.
Earning unlimited cash back.
Yikes. That's all I can say right there. Hey, in Florida, you've got Gators.
Man.
My wife would be proud. She's a Florida Gator.
Well, there you go.
Hansel Robles.
You know, when you look at a season, sometimes you overlook some of the great surprises that you got. And Robles certainly came out of nowhere last year to appear in 57 games for the Mets. Really did it with one pitch, his fastball.
Luis Cruz leads off here in the top of the 9th inning for the Cardinals. Hits it on the ground, down to third. There's Muno. On to Campbell. That's the first out here in the 9th. MLB.com, MLB.tv, premium, everything you have come to expect and more. New low price for 2016. Watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Is that MLB.com you just read there? Yeah.
I thought it was TV. Nick Plummer over from the minor league camp. Hits it on the ground. Campbell. Robles quickly off the mound, and 2 up and 2 down.
Tricky little hop handled by Campbell. Hit like the where the dirt and grass meet, so it stayed down, and Campbell stayed with it.
So the Cardinals down to their final out here. Paul DeYoung. Hansel Robles, his 3rd game this spring. Don't forget he's suspended for the first 2 games of the regular season for that incident with the Phillies. Cameron Rupp last season, the quick pitch. Pitch and a mighty cut by DeYoung. And so the Cardinals now down to their final strike. Robles, 25 years old. It was 4-3 a season ago. The rate 3.67, 61 strikeouts in 54 innings. And here's the 0-2. Up high.
Well, he's got a great live arm. 95 miles an hour here early in spring training.
What's the biggest question with Robles? Is it his secondary stuff?
Yeah, if he can ever get himself where he's got a breaking ball that he can throw for a strike, ends the limit for him pitching in middle relief. That's the pitch right there. It's not close enough to entice the batter to swing at it. He's got to have a little better control of it.
The trust factor is, I would imagine, really important from the manager. He's got to believe that Robles can get big outs, that he can trust him.
Well, he likes his toughness. He wants to take the ball. He can pitch often. You know, those are some of the things that we tend to overlook, Gary, is that, you know, you want guys in the bullpen who want to take the ball every day, and Robles is that kind of pitcher. We saw him last year a lot of times get extended 2, 3, 4 days in a row.
He was originally suspended 3 games for the incident with Rupp, and then it was reduced down to 2, so he'll miss that series. To open the season in Kansas City. 2-2 pitch to DeYoung. Count runs full. Five spots in the bullpen, pretty much sewn up. It's those last 2. Jim Henderson's looked pretty good so far.
Yes,
he would like to find his way into that Mets bullpen. I'm not sure Josh Smoker helped himself today.
On one of the backfields, I was watching Josh Edgin, left-hander, who's coming back from arm surgery. He was throwing nice and free and easy against Mets hitters.
Edgin coming back from Tommy John. May 1st, is that the target date? Or
it's a little quicker for relievers than it is for starting pitchers. So sometimes it's a 12 to 14 month window.
DeYoung down the line in left field, keep this game alive. He pulls into second base with a stand-up double.
Well, fastball in on the hands. It broke the bat of DeYoung, but still able to muscle it out there to left field.
Alberto Rosario next up for the Cardinals. Spent last season at Double-A with the Springfield Cardinals. Coming into the game today, Robles 2 1/3, 2 hits, a run, 4 strikeouts and 3 walks. Jacob Wilson is on deck if Rosario can keep the inning alive. Count evens at 1-1. Well, there's a Cardinal team that won 100 games a season ago. Lost to the Cubs in the division series, but they should be in the hunt in the Central. That eats up Danny Muno.
Well, there's nothing Muno could do there. He knew he was going to get the bad hop, tried to come up with it, but he played it in front of him, kept it in front of him. The spring training fields, they don't usually, like the regular fields or at Citi Field, well, they'll take it and repair it in between innings 2 or 3 times. Usually doesn't happen in spring training, so you can get some of those bad hops.
Runners at first and third with 2 outs. Jacob Wilson. Big right-handed bat now facing Rosario, who works, Robles, I should say, works out of the stretch. Rosario over there at third. You know what I've noticed? A lot of 90s, 93s, 92s.
The struggle for the play-by-play guy in spring training, Gary. I remember one game that Keith and Gary were doing where there was the Dodgers and one 95 was replaced by another 95. So,
well, we had that here with Hazel Baker, number 91. As that one has popped up, and this should do it. As Ty Kelly settles under it, and the Mets get themselves a 7-2 win here. Terry Collins and company over the Cardinals.
Well, you can't throw much better than Syndergaard did. 38 pitches, 29 strikes, 3 impressive innings of work, and a 2-run home run by Tejada and a 3-run home run by Travis Taijeron. There's enough offense for the Mets.
Game summary, Mets pounded out 13 hits. And Noah Syndergaard, boy, a lot of anticipation about his first start of the year. And as you said, it could not have gone much better. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Sleepy's, the only mattress professionals. Remind you to set your clocks ahead this weekend. By Cadillac. Visit TriStateCadillac.com for exceptional offers. And by W.B. Mason, the official office supply company of the New York Mets. Who but W.B. Mason? The New York Mets get their 4th win of the spring. They knock off the Cardinals by a final of 7-2. Travis Taijeron, the big 3-run homer. Ruben Tejada going deep as well for the Amazons. Our next game on television coming up on Saturday over on Pix. The Mets and the same St. Louis Cardinals, game time at 1 o'clock. Our next SNY game coming up Friday, March 18th. The Washington Nationals invade Tradition Field. And so the Mets get themselves a victory on a beautiful day here in Port St. Lucie. For Ron Darling, I'm Gary Apple. For our entire crew, we say so long from Port St. Lucie.